But welcome back everybody to the newest episode of the JSN Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Borderlands 3. My guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Jay. I've played this game kind of too much. I'm not done with it yet, so not too much.
And
I'm Nico. I played a half of Borderlands 2. That was a really long game. I forget why I stopped playing, but because it's really long. And Borderlands 3, I played like the first 10 minutes of it. I'm still gonna talk about it. I'll have an opinion. Don't worry. But
word. But yeah,
very uninformed one.
Yeah, so with Borderlands 3 now finally releasing on the Steam store, we thought it'd be a good time to talk about it because it's kind of been exclusive to Epic Games for the past 6 months, so like nobody has gotten it. And especially with all this coronavirus stuff going on, we're all college students, so now we're home for the semester and the summer, so we have like so much time and Jay and I have been playing just way too much video game time, and especially on Borderlands, so I guess we felt it was a good time to talk about it. So Nico, at least you've played some of Borderlands 3, so what are you guys' first impressions on the game?
I don't know. I'll start. It's fun. It is fun. I agree with this. I like the gameplay feels a lot like 2, which I really like. The only problem is time to kill seems longer than 2, or I might be misremembering time to kill in 2, because that gets frustrating sometimes, especially in boss fights.
Yeah. For me, I also feel like I enjoy the gameplay of Borderlands 3 a lot. I also agree, like, time to kill can feel like a little frustrating to enemies, but more importantly, it's like, it feels like weirdly inconsistent. Like, it feels like some enemies just like their shields just like last for so long, and then their health is like nothing, and then some enemies like have like barely any shields and then a ton of health. So like I don't really like get like the point of like having like small differences like that when like they still end up taking like an entire 4 or 5 clips to even like get through. But yeah, it's no, but I mean, all these critiques off the bat, but I do agree that it is a ton of fun. Nico, you've only played a little bit of it, but what do you feel about it so far?
It felt like Borderlands 2. like very much the same. Like, why would I? Like, I don't know.
Do you
It wasn't the biggest change.
Okay. Do you plan on going back to it? I know you've only played a little bit, as you said, but do you plan on going back to it? Is it like, are you not really like passionate about the game, or like what do you think about it so far?
I'm not planning on it. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I feel like that's mostly just a symptom of I don't really play as many video games as I used to.
Yeah, I totally get that.
As like when I played Borderlands 2, I played a lot of video games, whereas now it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, less so.
Spend my time doing other things.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, so I guess we can get into like talking about the Borderlands 3 and like the story as well. And so before we get into that stuff, warning that this is a spoiler podcast, so we obviously like won't systematically tell you every single aspect of the game, but if something comes up, if like a key story detail comes up, we will just like say it and we will blurt it. So if you care that much about being spoiled, Nico obviously does not because he's here. But if you care that much about being spoiled, please.
Y'all haven't even finished the game yet. It's not like you can spoil the end.
Something happens around the point where we are in the game. I will leave it.
Oh.
This is accurate.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so I guess we can talk about it. So Jay, you were telling me before our podcast that you have a big problem with a big event that happens midway through the game.
Okay, so around like level 20 or so, right? The Maya gets killed off in the first vault you enter. First vault you enter. Yeah, they just kill off Maya, and the player character is standing there and doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
I'd be fine with this. It's a cutscene, whatever. Fine, this is how cutscenes usually work. But the reason the character dies is because of this like small child Ava who doesn't know what she's doing and just shows up in this. Okay, I understand that like Ava hate is very, very, very common but it's completely understandable. Like, this character does nothing productive, at least in the first half of the game. Does nothing good for you. It actually gets one of the nice character killed. Because Maya's a fun character. You're invested in her. I played a Siren last game. That was literally me. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I like literally like I was on the phone earlier today with one of my friends, and like we were just sitting listening to music. I was playing the game. He was like writing something, and like literally right after I killed a Ravager or like Savage thing, whatever, like that big annoying wolf fight, which was, side note, the most like mundane, boring fight of the game so far.
So about that.
Yeah, no, but wait, let me finish and then we'll get to that. But I sat there and like Maya just like freaking, sorry, no, Ava just like pops out, and like Maya just in like, oh god, the guy freaking absorbs her like to a crisp, man. The what's his name? The
Troy.
Yeah, Troy. Yeah, he literally just like grabs her hand and like sucks the life energy out of her, and like you just see it happen, and it's all freaking Ava's fault, and it didn't need to happen. And I sat there with my mouth gaping open, looking at the screen, and my friend's like, "What just happened in your game?" I'm like, "One of like the key characters in the story just died." It felt like a Game of Thrones moment. I'm like that doesn't happen, like, you know. So, but yeah, no. So, what do you think about the fight beforehand?
The Ravager fight?
Yeah.
Okay, that was also stupidly tedious, but it
Yeah.
could have been worse. I think I didn't die during that fight of running out of ammo, but there are two other fights where I just died for running out of ammo.
Yeah.
In both of my primaries, which is a different problem.
Yeah, no, for in the Ravager fight was just like, yeah, exactly. Like I'm actually gonna, we'll get into that in a little bit, but the Ravager fight, it was literally just like I did the same thing for like 35 minutes. Like I just shot him, dodged his attacks, waited for that little rocks to fall from the ceiling, grabbed the ammo and stuff when it fell, picked it back up, shot him more, and that was it for like 35. He had like form changes. He had like 3 form changes, and all he did was shoot like different colored fireballs. Like it, I don't know. I was not a big fan of the fight, and like also it had nothing to do with like the big story event that happened right after. Like, you know, like, oh great, we freed the vault. Like we freed the vault, and then what's it called? Uh, what's her name? The
Tyreen.
evil, yeah, Tyreen freaking comes to. She's like, oh, thank you. You killed you got access to the vault for me, and then she just dips. You know what I mean? It's just like it didn't feel very relevant.
Well, Tyreen's take is the power of the vaults is the monsters, so what she wants to do is absorb the yeah, which is very not good, because I'm assuming that when the fight at the end of the game comes with Tyreen, because she's probably the final boss, realistically, like you're just gonna have to do the same thing over again. Hopefully not, but oh, that'd be so frustrating.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I just think it's so sad that like you're like, you know, your player character, like the character I played as in Borderlands 2 is like now gone. Like she's dead. And it was hard to watch, I'm not gonna lie. And like Ava, like, oh my god, Ava just like she like felt sad and then didn't care, and I was like, are you kidding me?
Well, yeah, no, Ava literally is unapologetic over the entire thing too. She just like she literally blames Lilith.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, no, it's a little dumb. But what is your opinion about on the other boss fights so far? Like any of like the big fights?
There's a boss fight. Okay, first of all, the Katagawa fight is both annoying and fun at the same time.
Yeah, that was an interesting fight. What did you think about that?
I thought it was interesting. It took me a while to figure out you could actually shoot the boxes below the place where he was to interrupt his sequence, which was really useful. I would still run out of ammo constantly in the fight, but that isn't even the most annoying fight. The most annoying fight comes after the fight with the Ravager. At least for me, there's this Goliath. You shoot its head off, and it basically rages more.
Oh, bruh.
Yeah, except it has phases, so it can heal. And it'll just
God,
hit the ground and then get stronger and heal all of its health back constantly.
Yeah, no, that's I hate like healing, like enemies that heal. just make me want to die. Like shields, I don't care. Shields are usually easy to just destroy, but like the healing, man, that's just oh god, yeah.
The only good thing about that fight is that you can interrupt his healing by shooting him a ton in the middle
Oh,
of.
just like shoot a lot.
Yeah.
Um, you know what fight I just like could not get through for like a little bit, like I just kept running out of ammo for? Who's the big like the you know how you have like the contaminator and like icebreaker and pyrotech heavies, right? Like
Yeah, is this on
the
the monk planet, the monastery planet?
yeah,
Captain
the
Tron. Yeah, that fight is
yeah.
also annoying.
God, yeah, no, that one was annoying because like again, like the attacks are easy to avoid. It's like so much health. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so much health and like I wish there was like it was a trade off of like taking more like you needed to like move around more or like evade harder attacks and then make their health less. You know what I mean? Like because what it feels like is just like move occasionally and shoot them. You know, or like constantly
Yeah,
just be moving and shoot them and you win.
yeah.
And yeah.
Like I could make a robot to do this for me. Is my problem.
This is
Not
true.
not literally, but
Yeah.
I can imagine how to do it. Which is the problem.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, the gameplay, I'd like to see something just like spice up a little bit. Like, I feel like the gameplay is getting a little repetitive for me. Um, in terms of what's it called? Because I remember in Borderlands 2, I can't remember what it was, but they what's it called? In the what's it called? The game used what's it called? The game did a really good job, I feel like, of like mixing up gameplay or like enemy types. I feel like in this game I've seen sort of the same two enemy types throughout the entire game. Like either the Children of the Vault or the or like those robots, like the troopers and like enforcers and all that. Like I feel like enemy types in Borderlands 2. I mean, also I played through the entire game instead of just like, halfway through or like a little less than halfway through Borderlands 3. Um, so I guess like that might just be like bias of like, how much I've played of the game, but I don't know. I like to see like something new, like very, very different come, you know what I mean? So, what do you think?
I don't think that's going to change. I
Mm,
mean, I think the Children of the Vault being the main enemy for the entire game is the
yeah.
problem there.
Yeah, I mean, like that is sort of like I mean, all Borderlands games have those, but like it's like seeing like some more variations on them maybe like we've seen the tinks and the like I was very pleasantly surprised when I saw like the bruisers for the first time.
Yeah,
Like I was like, oh dude, those things are sick. They're like big and chunky and like they attack me. Like I like to like, keep seeing them add new types of Children of the Vault just so like I continue being surprised, you know what I mean? So what's it called? So I guess to not shun Nico out too much. We can talk more about like the entire franchise as a whole and like
I don't feel shunned. It's fine.
okay, that's good. But uh yeah, we can talk about like the franchise as a whole and like maybe like what we like about it,
Well,
where we want to
actually,
see it
before we
go.
do that, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
I've been listening to you guys talk. It sounds like you guys are talking a lot about issues you have with the stories and the enemy types. I'm just curious, what did you like about this game? Let's shed some positivity.
Um Honestly, one of my favorite aspects of this game is probably the weapons. I think like the weapons in this game are like so diverse and interesting. Like literally, so I was using this one weapon called like the shark wave something, and like literally, so like I read the description, or like it's such a weird weapon that like shoots bullets, but also shoots like diagonal like beams of like different types of energy, like radiation or like electric or like fire, and like each weapon usually has like a little description. The description under that weapon was just one bullet point and said you can't really explain what's going on. And I was like, that's hilarious because that's so accurate. It just shoots like it looks like it's random, but it like clearly has like a rhyme and reason to it. And honestly, like the weaponry in this game is just like so diverse. Like every single weapon you use has a different, unique feel, and like can be used in specific situations and used like that was one of my problems with I played Borderlands the pre-sequel, and it felt for a while that all the guns just like felt the same. You get the occasional like wacky cool guns, but like it just felt like every SMG was the same, every AR was the same. You know, what do you think, Jay?
I agree. I like weapons.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say that all the gun manufacturers seem to have a very different spin on all their weapons, so you can definitely tell what type of gun is which.
For sure. Like I like the little like old style aesthetic that like Jack Hobbs goes for. I think they are.
Yeah, the Jacobs guns are a fun
Yeah,
time.
Jacobs. Yeah, and like they like feel like a little classy. Yeah, I know. I definitely said Jacobs. It's because it's Jako like B. Like it's like not Jacob. You know.
You're not wrong. This looks like the right pronunciation until
Yeah.
you say it. Then,
Yeah, and then you're like, obviously it was Jacobs, you idiot. Why, you know? But yeah, I also like the vehicles in this game. Um, I think they control like very well. I remember I was playing Borderlands 2, and I can't remember which vehicle it is, but it just like feels so clunky to move around in that game. And I feel like they, especially like the circular vehicles in this game that Malawan produces, those ones
the
just feel,
Cyclones,
yeah,
those
the Cyclones, they feel so smooth and like wonderful to control and just like great to ride around in, you know? Um what's it called? So, honestly, like that is the one thing that like makes this game continue to feel fresh and like continues to have me enjoy it. Like the weapons in this game are just so fun to use. Like they're so satisfying. And like that's kind of like a Borderlands hallmark or like trademark, you know? Like they like the killing and like that is like always the best part, you know?
yeah, I find it just I find it very fun, just like cathartic to just go and like shoot enemies.
Mhm. I
But
agree.
yeah, but there are just things that make that shooting of enemies slightly less fun, as mentioned. And
Mhm.
sometimes it gets tedious, for example.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think ideally it's like you need to strike a balance between like the fun, like grindy sort of like continual rolling of like cathartic shooting and like it getting tedious or like annoying or repetitive. It's like a very fine line. And like sometimes it leans towards one side, sometimes it leans toward the other, but like overall I think it comes out a pretty good experience. And I was gonna say I also like I can't remember actually if this was in Borderlands 2. Was there as much vehicle customization in Borderlands 2?
Not quite sure. I don't remember if there were even three main vehicle types. There might have
Mm-hmm.
been two. And I
Yeah.
know you could change like weapons, but I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure if you could change boost.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I'm a big fan of like I think Borderlands 3 in general has like a lot of new customization options. Um, what's it called? What do you think about that?
I think it's nice. I like the extra customization. Um, especially the Cyclone. Cyclone's a fantastic vehicle.
Mm-hmm. I also in terms of like skill trees, for characters, or like for the different character types, there are so many like more different like there's so many options now for each thing. Like, I'm pretty sure in Borderlands 2 it went like 2 2. Then the next row had 3, but now there's like you get started off with like 3 different things you can spec into and like upgrade from there.
Also,
Um,
yeah, that's nice.
yeah, the different like spec options for I don't know. Overall, it just makes like my character and like I feel like they're more significant now. So I play the Siren in this game, and like the ability I use is like the fists come out of your back and like slam around you, and like it like my skills like sorry the passive effects actually feel really significant in this game. So I like invested like 5 points into the health regen. I never need to pick up a stim pack or like the little healing bar things, whatever. I never need to pick one up because I constantly have health regeneration and it's so fast that it like it isn't even useful to carry on healing items with me. So like it feels like it has an actual tangible impact in the game, and so that's one improvement I really liked over Borderlands 2.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
I'm playing a Siren with a different subclass where you project a like ring out in front of
Hmm.
you. Um, I basically have it set up so when you hit something, it heals you, and it's nice because it
Interesting.
basically encourages me to deal damage and also like I heal for doing said damage.
Yeah, I'd like. Well, that actually leads into another thing that I like in this game. I feel like the skill trees are a lot they're made a lot more cohesive. Like they have like a clear theme to them. So mine, for example, and then yeah, I'd like you to tell me about like your play style that yours encourages, but the play style that like my like build or like my chosen action skill encourages is like going in, dealing a ton of damage, and then going out. So like my action skill is like a melee splash damage thing that like everybody in around me in a small radius takes a ton of damage, and then right after I have temporary damage reduction, and I have increased gun damage, and then also I have like a passive trait that makes my guns deal more damage the closer I am to an enemy. And so the idea is that, like you use your action skill to like initiate to like go in, deal a ton of damage and kill as much stuff you can while you're close to it in the battle, and then run out and like your passive healing regenerates you. You know. So yeah, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Yeah. So basically, what I'm using is I basically have what are called rush stacks, and every time you kill an enemy, you get a rush stack.
Interesting.
There's also just a passive called Fast Hands in this tree that improves your reload speed, like weapon swap speed and mode switch speed, which is
so nice.
Such a win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, I have my rush stack set up so I get increased reload speed for when I proc them, which makes the character a lot more just like capable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I think I have the soul sap augment, so I heal. Yeah.
So do you heal when you deal damage?
I heal when I deal damage using my action skill. So
very nice.
It works really well, I think, if you basically just get in there and fight for a while. And you have to have lots of small enemies to kill those, the problem. Because I'll eventually get to this point in the fight where there are just lots of very tanky enemies that I cannot kill quickly. So and there are a few of them, so I can't get new rush stacks.
Yeah.
Which is a bit sad.
I mean, at the end of the day, like,
them, so.
yeah, each like each build is meant to like specialize in like a specific play style. So like not everything will be cross applicable everywhere. So like for example, for me, like my action skill does terribly against like spread out groups of enemies, right? Like if it's just like one or two enemies in an area, then I'll have to use the action skill, shoot them, and then have to run all the way over to somebody else to kill them, and I'll have lost all my buffs by that time. So like mine really helps in like concentrated groups of enemies, or like for example like with those freaking disgusting ratches, when they come and just like I can just action skill and just gun all of them down really fast. Side note, ratches are disgusting, man. They like eat off of like the other dead ratches to like heal. I hate those things so much.
They're supposed to disgust you, yeah.
They're filthy. Like the rats nest and like they like spit out more of them. Like it feels like I'm playing Fallout. Like in Fallout, you have like those like disgusting like huge bugs and like mosquitoes that just follow you. I hate bugs, man. I hate bugs. God. But yeah, so what's it called? Nico, you said you played through the greater part of Borderlands 2. What was your opinion on that? And compared to Borderlands 3?
Oh, I can't really compare to Borderlands 3 that much, but Borderlands 2 was a lot of fun. It from what I remember, yeah, I love the weapon variety a bunch. From what I've heard, it's definitely improved in Borderlands 3. And I just think what I really loved about it was kind of like the style and just the aesthetic of all of it. Like it was just like this really fun, like running guns blazing type video game, but I feel like a lot of those on the market, take themselves too seriously, and I feel like this one, it was just like a really good amount of comic relief and kind of like cartoonishness to it.
For sure.
And I think another thing that I remember very vividly about it was that like the kind of the RPG elements of it, like they're definitely there and they improve the experience, but it's not really like off-putting to people who aren't like fans of RPGs. Like it's a very welcoming game to new players.
For sure.
It definitely doesn't overwhelm you. Like the elements are still there, and I think, and it does have some pretty deep systems with character customization, like in terms of classes, but it's definitely not as overwhelming as much more RPG heavy games. I'm trying to think of an example, but I have no clue. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I actually completely agree with what you're saying, and like that actually brings up such a good point that I'd love to talk about. Like the aesthetic of the franchise, I feel like is one of its most defining characteristics, and like probably what makes Borderlands so special. Like I remember talking with Jay when I like first started playing the game, and I saw like one of the Children of the Vault enemy types is called the Tink, and then like they have like different like prefixes, like if they're like assault, troopers, or like jet troopers, or this, and like the most powerful like version of a generic enemy is just called a badass blank. So like these little tiny Tink, like Children of the Vault, badass Tink, and like I just thought that was hilarious. Like the game is like it's so on the nose about so many things, and I feel like
Mhm.
that's part of what makes it such a fun game, is that like it knows that it's like just stupid gore and like guns and ridiculous things happening, and it like embraces it.
Yeah. I remember I never played the first Borderlands,
Mm-hmm.
but from what I understand, I think like the original Borderlands, when the original like trailers for it came out, like the announcement trailers,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't have the aesthetic that Borderlands is known for now. It's supposed to be a much more serious game.
Really
And then when I think the
interesting.
game, and then it was somewhere in development that they changed it to have a lot more of the kind of cartoonish style. I remember, I think it was like after they had already like released the initial trailers for that game and they were still in development. That's when they decided to have the art style. I forget what the art style is called.
Cell shading.
Um, yeah, that's it was only after they originally announced the game that they added in the cell shading, which really
Interesting.
which is very iconic to the franchise, I think. And then
Mm-hmm.
the first game release, and it did kind of have that style, but from what I understand, it wasn't like as much as something as like the future games did, like Borderlands 2. It was still a lot more like held back. It was only in Borderlands 2 that they really went like balls to the wall
Mm-hmm.
with the with like the style and the sense of humor and all that. Like the first Borderlands was a much more serious game, and I
Mm-hmm.
think, and then I mean, no, I don't know too many people who's played Borderlands 1, but I know so many people who jumped in on Borderlands 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I
I
think that just goes to show, like, yeah, what really defines the franchise.
Yeah, no, I totally, I was gonna say exactly that Borderlands 2, I felt like, is when the series really found itself and really like settled on its image and like its audience, right? Like I too, I never played the first Borderlands. Like I just caught up on it through videos and like reading the pages, but like yeah, I hopped in on Borderlands 2, and like, you know, I agree that like the cell shading, the aesthetic of the game, the visual direction is so unique, and it's like so, what's the word you used, iconic. It's
Yeah.
iconic to to the series. Like there are a few other games like that I can like think off the top of my head that like are really good and like have beautiful graphics and like are also cell shaded, like Wind Waker, Legend of Zelda,
Hmm.
and then that like stealth ninja game Origami, and like that's like about it, and I can't really think of any others. So like cell shading is a really hard art style to like nail, but I think Borderlands does it well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to mention
Hmm.
about the franchise, I think makes it really strong, is you can really jump. I feel like you can jump in on any of these games and like kind of go. Like you don't have to play the previous ones to kind of understand what's going on. Like I
Hmm.
know they have that little thing at the start where they kind of explain to you like the story so far, but
Yeah.
really briefly. But one of the things I really love about it is like I remember with Borderlands 2 when I played that is you run into a lot of the same characters from the first game.
Hmm.
And but you wouldn't know that playing Borderlands 2. And it was only after like looking into Borderlands when I realized, oh wait, the like this character that you meet like halfway through the game, I think was like the siren from the original game,
Yeah.
was a playable character in the first one. So I mean, even though you can really jump in anywhere, it really rewards you for like knowing what's happened before. And I think um that's a balance that not a lot of games are able or game franchises are able to really get, and I think Borderlands gets it really well. And from everything I know about Borderlands 3, it seems like the exact same way. Like you can jump in on it, but if you know what's happened in previous games, it's a lot more rewarding. Like do you run into characters from like Borderlands 2?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
The character we're talking about, Maya, like Maya's the siren character in Borderlands 2. The character who died. Like yeah, Jay, do you want to speak more on that?
Yeah, basically, okay, so you also see Zero in a previous
Mm-hmm.
mission and before that,
Oh, Zero's so
as well
sick.
as, I want to say Brick from 1 in
Mm-hmm.
a different mission, Mordecai from 1, etc. Like, repeated characters are common.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Zero is literally actually Genji, and you cannot change my mind.
I mean, you're
Um,
not wrong.
like actually, literally, they just
Mm-hmm.
said cyborg ninja. Except Zero is Zero completely a robot, or is he like
Mm,
part
Uh,
robot?
he's not. He's in a suit.
Oh, okay. Well, he's cyborg ninja still. I'll give it to him.
Yeah.
Hmm. But
I didn't know you still were in love with Genji
I still love
from
Genji.
Overwatch. Do you still love Overwatch?
Honestly, I do hop on it occasionally. We were
Really?
gonna do an Overwatch episode early in this franchise, and then Overwatch died, and then we like, sorry, not early. What did I say? Franchise early in this like podcast. We were like when we made it a year ago. We were gonna do an Overwatch episode, and then we decided not to because Overwatch was dead. And hopefully when Overwatch 2 comes out, like I mean I'm definitely gonna try Overwatch 2 when it comes out just to like see how it is and like see if I like it. And hopefully we can
Yeah.
do an episode on that then. But like yeah, the game like I occasionally hop on it just to like see what's going on, and it's like it's dead, dude. No one plays that thing. It's sad.
I don't say that because I feel like there are still it still has a very it still has a
Passionate.
fan base, a
Yeah.
passionate fan base who will be very upset by those statements. But
Indeed, a very passionate
I'm
fan base. I agree.
I'm not saying it's a large fan base, but it's a very
Yeah.
passionate one. And
Yeah.
but I'm interested. I'm definitely interested to see what 2 is
Mhm.
because I have no clue what it is.
Yeah.
I think it'd be awesome if it's like if it has a lot of new features, but kind of what from what I understand, it's the same exact game, but just looks slightly different, which
Like
would be kind of a disappointment. It seems like they're just trying to like get people pay again for it.
mhm. Well, yeah, I mean like we can definitely talk more about this in like a potential like other episode, but like
Yeah.
yeah, I mean overall like I think uh you know the thing about Overwatch is that like it kind of has like I was like what I was sort of talking about like with Borderlands like that it doesn't it kind of gets repetitive after a long time, you know what I
Mm.
mean? Like it doesn't change things up enough, and like the standard gameplay is at the core very simple that doesn't really get like when you play the same character again and again, it doesn't feel very different, right? Like in Borderlands, you get a character with a specific set of abilities, but like the guns you can use can ultimately just you can play however you'd like. You know what I mean?
I regret getting us on this topic. I'm sorry.
No, it's really all right. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think it going back to Borderlands, it actually I think that's in hindsight one of the features that the game does best is like even when you pick a class, it doesn't like feel restricting. You know what I mean? Like the class just sort of feels like the class feels like instead supports and like bolsters, that's the word I'm looking for, gameplay, instead of like limiting it or like making you select one thing, right? It's not like you feel like you can't do things because you picked a class. It feels like icing on the cake, you know what I mean? So that also I think is like something that Borderlands does well, because I know a lot of like shooters and those kind of games sort of like there are features I can't remember. There's like one game I'm trying to think of, that like the class you pick literally like it completely just like railroads your gameplay, and like you like see other things that other cool classes can do, and then you like you wish you could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what's it called? No, that is funny that we just went on a random uh, what's it called? Tangent about the about Overwatch. But overall, I just wanna what's it called? Get I guess like final thoughts about like the franchise, or like mostly like where we'd want to see it go. Like do you want there to be a Borderlands 4? Do you, Nico, are you gonna play Borderlands 3?
Probably not.
Understandable. I will. If you guys stay quiet, I will cut all of this out. I will cut all of this out. I can edit on
Borderlands 4 would be a fun time, I will say. But I'm just not sure where they're gonna go with it. Like, if they end up killing off more sirens, okay. The reason why there's a 6 siren limit in the series. You can only have 6 sirens.
Wait,
at any
really?
time.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, probably explains why Maya was killed. They could have killed off someone else, or just not had random other characters be sirens.
But didn't one of the sirens die?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but their powers get
doesn't that-
transferred.
No, I like limit is like a maximum, not necessarily a minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not minimum 6, maximum 6. They're not exactly 6 sirens. There are at most 6 sirens.
Isn't Troy also a siren?
Troy is now a siren, yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Which is also super jank. Don't worry about that.
Isn't he a dude? I thought sirens could only be female.
He leached the powers from one, so now he's a siren. Shrug.
Interesting. But yeah, continue with what you're saying.
Anyway, yeah, there are a bunch of sirens that like aren't actually necessary, is how I'd put it. That like aren't relevant. What I would say is like, okay, Tannis is a siren. No one needed this.
Yeah.
No one needed that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure Ava also becomes a siren. Again, no one needed that. You could have just kept Maya alive, or I mean, yeah, that.
Yeah.
Or just let the thing die with Troy. Like either was fine.
Tannis is a little bit hilarious. I kind of love her.
Tannis is funny, but
Yeah.
like
she
she doesn't need to be a siren.
Yeah, she kind of like she just like does like the most like she just says the most like low key demeaning things, and
Yes.
it's just like so funny. Like I love her. But yeah, no, I agree. She doesn't really need to be a siren. Like if Ava becomes a siren, like this kind of like makes sense for the story. Like it's like, oh, it makes sense. But yeah, no, so what's it called? The current amount of sirens. So we have Tyreen, we have Troy, we have what's it called? Lilith, right?
And Lilith doesn't count because Irene has her powers currently.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know
Yep.
she lost. I didn't realize she lost her powers.
Yeah, this is why she's not on missions with you anymore.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I did not realize that. But yeah, so Amara, Tyreen, Troy,
Tannis.
Maya's dead.
Yeah.
So that's like four.
That's
like
4. Yeah.
So I assume Ava's gonna become one, and then
Yeah, but Ava takes it from Troy. So.
Yeah. Oh, that happens. Like that definitely happens. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the number stays at 4. So what do you think they're gonna do with the other 2?
Hopefully save them for Game Plus so they don't have to kill off Sirens next game. I don't want Amara to die because she's a stupid apprentice who gets her killed. Is what I'm saying. Like,
this is true, dude. That's God, Ava, man. Why did you have to just come in like that? But I wanted to what's it called? Ask about probably I guess how do you feel about like the story as a whole in this game and like how it compares to, like the previous ones? Like, do you think because one of the things I've heard that this game like really wasn't needed in terms of story. You know what I mean? Like it sort of just continues on a story that could have ended with Borderlands 2. And like pre-sequel was like nice to give us like context and backstory. But what do you think about that, Jay?
I agree. The state of the world is like strictly worse so far, and I don't think it's gonna get better.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like unless like I'm kind of confused like where they take it even from where I am right now, which is like why I kind of enjoy playing the game because I'm just like what is supposed to happen now? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, this is fair.
Yeah. Like they sort of just like threw in Tyreen, and it's like all of a sudden like there's this like psychotic siren who just is absorbing people and turning people into these purple crystals that I can now destroy with that new melee thing that I very much like because it feels cool. It feels like Doomfist from Overwatch. But yeah, I don't know.
Not funny. Didn't laugh.
You were muted, so maybe you did laugh and you were capping, but
no, I thought it was important to unmute so I could say that I didn't laugh.
Wow. Okay. Well.
Definitely.
But yeah, I don't know. I do like Tyrene as a villain though. I think her whole like streamer aesthetic is hilarious. Like just being like, "Hey, what's up, everybody? Drop some bits to come like and watch me kill this person." And I'm like, "What? Are you kidding me?" Like it kind of reminds me of like the whole like meme of like teachers like right now becoming Twitch streamers. Like being like drop some bits and we'll go over like, game theory and like it's really funny, but I don't know. I think her character's interesting. I just like wish I find her threatening. I just wish like there was more, I guess, like more context behind her. Like I feel like she just appeared and like is bad, and then they're like she's bad and is here. You know?
Yeah, I agree with this. Like, this is fair.
Yeah. But so overall, like I mean, from what you've played of Borderlands 3 so far, and the franchise as a whole, like what would you say are like the key takeaways and like last any last thoughts you have on the franchise?
Hmm. I think that individually, the characters are good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the plot for each of the individual characters, with some exceptions, is pretty good. But when you put it all together, it doesn't feel super coherent. That being
Mm-hmm.
said, the gameplay's still fun. So yeah,
Exactly. And I think Nico made a good point that like at the end of the day, the story is more there to glue together the like excellent gameplay, you know? Like it's like you sort of just need missions there in order for the gameplay loop to continue, right?
yeah,
To have new enemies and new areas and do all that. Cuz like if they just said go to like, this area, then it would just feel kind of awkward. But quick side note before I give my final thoughts. I do actually really like the like what they've done with like each of the particular planets. Like they feel very lively now. Like they feel like they have like their own identity. Like I feel like in Borderlands 2, a lot of the planets just felt like sort of samey, and if not, like they just felt sort of like they didn't have a lot of personality and color and vibrance. But like especially Pandora and Promethea in this game, like feel so they have such a unique, strong identity to them, And so that's what I really love the environments and how they handled them in this game. But I guess my final thoughts would be that I agree that like you know the story can be interesting and like compelling at times and like but really it's about the characters. The characters are all or most of them are interesting or funny or unique or bring something new to the table. Um, but at the end of the day, the gameplay loop is just so fun and like I've been here for like 1 week and I'm already level 20 in the game. Like it's it is honestly addicting. I just like even if I don't feel like it, just hop on it and play. And it's the classic Borderlands gameplay loop that I have enjoyed and will continue to
Been where for
enjoy.
a week? Been
Yeah,
where for a week?
been here at home, stuck in my
Where's
house,
your home?
quarantined.
What's your home address?
My home address. Should I put that on the internet and get possibly stalked and murdered like Pop
yeah.
Smoke?
Can you
Oh, that
also
sounds
include
kind of epic.
the security number?
Yeah, your mother's maiden name, the name of your first
Hmm.
pet. Yeah, all those
Yeah,
details.
cool.
Um,
So now that we're done talking about Borderlands, time to talk about Animal Crossing.
oh God,
No.
absolutely
How
not.
about we do not? This could be a
Absolutely.
different episode. We can find someone if we really want to talk about this.
Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. This will
I'll,
not be a different
I
episode.
will bring I will bring on Rachel as a guest for that episode.
Please do not.
I will mute my
Please do not.
microphone. And
Actually,
not
true. I could just mute my mic the entire episode.
Yeah,
I
honestly
probably
we
could as well.
honestly we could all just sit here, mute our microphones, and she will talk about it for the whole 50-minute
Mhm.
runtime of this podcast. And
Actually, no. I'll keep my microphone on, and I'll have a bowl of popcorn. I'll just eat it really quick.
just like sounds of chewing, just like harsh
Yeah.
chewing, while she's like, Tom
And,
Nook this, Tom Nook the
yeah.
Isabel
And
this.
occasionally.
God, excellent. Now that and sipping on some Baja Blast.
Tom
That'd be
Nook.
a quality podcast.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess that's where we'll end it off
Wait,
today.
what about Baja Blast?
Baja Blast is delicious. That's
Yeah,
what I
it's
have to.
fire.
It's so good.
Isn't it?
Jay, have you ever had
Wait,
Baja
isn't it,
Blast?
like,
I have not.
doesn't Isn't it exclusive to Taco Bell?
I mean, it is like you can only get like fountain at Taco Bell, but you can still buy like the bottles of Baja Blast at like random gas stations that like for some reason have it. Like,
because I was gonna say I do not want to go to Taco Bell.
Yeah, no.
This is kind of the downside that like the actual like convenient way to get Baja Blast is Taco Bell, but
And probably unsafe.
yeah, but
let's talk about this. So if we can't get good tacos from Taco Bell, where do you go to get tacos? Because like I've been thinking about this a lot. You need like know like good taco restaurants. Because if you don't, you're just kind of out of luck.
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of don't have any good taco restaurants near me. In hindsight, I just sort of make them at home. Like,
Chipotle has tacos. They're kind of bad, but
do they really?
Exist. Yeah.
Who goes to Chipotle for a taco?
I didn't know. I don't even think my Chipotle has tacos. I'm being honest.
Every Chipotle should have tacos.
Mine just has burritos and salads, and that's it. And like
ask them for a taco. They'll give you like
Just
3 little tacos.
Really?
Have them.
Yeah.
Instead of asking for a burrito, just be like, hey, instead of folding this up, can you just like kind of like make it a U? Just give it to me like that, and then you have a taco.
There you go. Pretty
Unrealistically
much.
large.
Yeah.
This is not usable.
That's okay. That's okay. Big taco, it works. It works. But
no, actually, I do know a good place to get tacos.
Where?
Oh,
okay.
No, I'll
okay,
tell you
great,
afterwards.
great. All right. So I guess we'll end off here. We have definitely spent the last 5 minutes talking about tacos, but you know that's just part of the vibe, man. Borderlands.
Well, actually, no. I know some good taco places in Chicago.
In Chicago. All right. Well, maybe.
Wait. I want to find the restaurant I went to because I want to plug these guys because they were so good.
All right. So in the meantime, I'll do the little outro routine. But
Okay.
hope you guys have all enjoyed listening to today's episode of the JSN Podcast.
Which was not really Borderlands, more rambling and
Exactly.
Borderlands.
Yeah. More of like Borderlands topic, but then also Animal Crossing, tacos, various other things, coronavirus.
Overwatch too.
Oh yeah, we did talk
Coronavirus.
about Overwatch. But so next episode we're going to be talking about Childish Gambino's new album. Nico has been harassing Jay and I to listen to it, and so we will be talking about that. And then so if you guys have any other suggestions for topics, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or join our Discord in the description to talk to us, to make topic suggestions. But overall, hope you guys enjoyed today. Thank you all for watching, or thank you all for listening rather, and we'll see you all later. All right.